The Case of Sarah Grace Patrick, Episode 1. 17-year-old Sarah Grace Patrick walked into the Carrollton courtroom smiling. She seemed calm, even confident, as if certain she would soon be released on bond. Her defense team described her as a bright student, kind-hearted, devoted to church and family, someone incapable of violence. Relatives nodded along. Her grandfather called her innocent. Her father said she had never shown a single warning sign. Then the prosecution called its first witness, Sarah's stepfather's sister. She spoke for the victims, not for Sarah. Her statement silenced the room. She told the court about a 5-year-old girl who had woken up to find her parents dead. The weight of that memory would never leave her. Sarah's expression changed. The smile faded. 2 people were gone, and what investigators would later uncover about her behavior after the murders would alter everything. Before the killings, Sarah had spent hours consuming true crime videos. She studied investigation techniques, evidence collection, and the mistakes killers made that led to their capture. But after her parents were murdered, she reached out to several true crime influencers on TikTok, asking them to feature her own case. She called the situation super interesting. Those messages became key evidence. On the morning of February 20th, 2025, a 5-year-old girl entered her parents' bedroom in Carrollton, Georgia. The sight froze her in place. Her father, 45-year-old James Brock, and her mother, 41-year-old Kristen Brock, lay motionless on the floor, blood pooling beneath them. The child's screams filled the house. Sarah Grace tried to comfort her younger sister, then dialed 911. Within minutes, police cars lined Tyus Road. Officers entered a 2-story home that showed no sign of forced entry, no broken glass, no kicked-in doors. Everything appeared undisturbed, except for the master bedroom. Both victims had been shot as they slept. The evidence pointed to precision, not panic. Whoever pulled the trigger knew the house well. Detectives documented every inch of the scene, blood patterns, bullet angles, the positions of the bodies. With both parents dead, Child Services officials placed Sarah and her sister with a family friend, Caitlin O'Keefe. Within days, Sarah returned to school. Teachers said she seemed calm, almost too calm. There were no tears, no visible grief, only quiet composure. To understand what happened, investigators looked deeper into the family's history. Kristen Brock had endured years of personal struggle, a failed marriage, addiction recovery, and endless custody disputes. Her new husband, James, lived with severe heart failure, dependent on a surgically implanted LVAD device, a mechanical pump that kept him alive and emitted an alarm if it ever malfunctioned. Outwardly, the Brocks appeared to have rebuilt their lives. They went to church, volunteered locally, and posted smiling family photos. Behind closed doors, arguments between Sarah and her mother grew frequent and bitter. Sarah wanted to live with her biological father. The fights escalated. Doors slammed. Messages appeared on Sarah's social media about betrayal and feeling trapped. No one recognized them as warnings. Forensic teams spent 2 days processing the house. Every surface was dusted for fingerprints, every fiber sealed in evidence bags, every shell casing logged. Ballistics showed both victims were shot at close range. There were no defensive wounds. They never woke up. Neighbors later recalled faint popping sounds around midnight, noise they assumed were fireworks. In rural Georgia, that was common. They were wrong. During questioning, Sarah told detectives she had slept through the night and heard nothing unusual. Then she mentioned something she shouldn't have known. She said her stepfather's LVAD machine had gone off around 11:40 p.m., a loud alarm that would have filled the house. She heard it, she said, but didn't get up to check, didn't tell her mother, didn't call 911. Investigators noted the contradiction. How could she hear a medical alarm from down the hall, but not multiple gunshots in the same house? That single inconsistency would later unravel her defense. It was only the beginning. Digital evidence, ballistic reports, and witness testimony would soon reveal a far darker picture of what had happened inside the Brock home, and of the girl who claimed she had been asleep. The Case of Sarah Grace Patrick. For someone who claimed to be asleep, the timeline didn't make sense. Investigators also discovered that Sarah had recently searched for information about suppressors and how to remove gunshot residue. On TikTok, she followed several accounts that detailed how killers were caught through digital footprints. On her personal notes app, she had written short phrases: plan, silent, and perfect timing. These findings were enough for detectives to seek a warrant. On March 10th, they brought Sarah in for questioning once again. This time her answers were different. She hesitated when asked about her movements, contradicted her earlier statements, and struggled to explain inconsistencies in her story. After hours of interrogation, she requested a lawyer. Within 24 hours, a warrant was issued for her arrest. 17-year-old Sarah Grace Patrick was charged with 2 counts of malice murder, 2 counts of felony murder, and possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. She was taken into custody without incident. The community of Carrollton was stunned. Friends and classmates refused to believe it. To them, Sarah had been a quiet, intelligent girl who smiled easily and seemed harmless. Her arrest fractured that image. In court, prosecutors presented their theory. They argued that Sarah's resentment toward her mother had grown into something dangerous. Her desire for control, combined with her fascination with true crime, had turned her curiosity into a plan. They described the night of February 19th. Sarah waited until the house was quiet. Her stepfather's condition meant he couldn't move quickly or defend himself. Her mother, asleep beside him, never stood a chance. Both were shot at close range with a .40 caliber handgun, later linked to the home's own firearm, kept in an unlocked drawer. After the murders, Sarah cleaned herself up, returned to bed, and waited for morning. When daylight came, she woke her sister and pretended to discover the crime for the first time. Then she dialed 911, her voice steady and controlled. For the next several days, she played the part of a grieving daughter, until the evidence caught up. During the bond hearing, the courtroom was silent as prosecutors read the details aloud. The messages to influencers, the search history, the absence of remorse, all of it painted a chilling picture.